Oh, what's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. We're talking about, are you hustling, grinding, or ebbing and flowing? Again, so many times people, depending on what they tell themselves, decide if their life is hard. Now, many people don't believe that. They go, "No, Erica, I was raised in Littlefoot, backward Arkansas, or Louisiana, or something else." Again, you have to be careful what you're telling yourself, the scripts you're reading yourself as you come out here and you walk out in daily life. You have to be telling yourself good things because everybody doesn't have great things saved up for you. As you see on the screen here, I put the middleman to millions course up there, and I put the Dallas location up. Okay, if you know the drill, it's late at night, but drop your city and state in the chat. As you see the thumbnail, we got Matlock up there. He is our favorite older white guy detective. Just like Murder She Wrote, she was typing on the typewriter. It's almost like the stories your grandparents like watching on the TV during the day. We used to call them the stories in the South. And same thing for the guy who played in the Heat of the Night, that played that what was his name? Not Virgil. Y'all know who I'm talking about, that played the I can't think of his name. As soon as I said it, in the Heat of the Night, the guy who was the captain, whatever. That they played that show for 10 daggone years. And what I want y'all to understand is a lot of actors get mad. They don't want to be typecast because it'll follow them their whole career. One of the things that was funny that came out of Wakanda Forever was the actors didn't realize you've played superheroes. Like for the next 10 years, kids, people, they're going to be doing the Wakanda whatever sign. They're going to be saying stuff to you about Wakanda. And I feel like some of the actors are like, all right, we're going to lean into this. And Michael B. Jordan and others are like, no, I don't want to be seen as that. And that's unfortunate because, there's an ebb and flow to it. Right now, to this day, what's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger says the worst thing he did was not play more Conan the Conqueror movies. He was like, I don't want to be typecast. And I'm like, but you already are. You're Arnold. Like Conan, the whole body, the shape, you should have made 10 of those movies. And the prime example I'm trying to go with this is Clint Eastwood. What do we know Clint Eastwood for? Put it in the comment section. What do we know Clint Eastwood for? What is Clint Eastwood like to this day? If I said Clint Eastwood, what comes to your mind? Because a lot of people they want to tussle, you guys. They want to tussle, right? But in the chat, tell me what you know Clint Eastwood for, right? He said there was at least 2 or 3 good Conan movies. Yeah, left in him. Keep going. What do you know Clint Eastwood for? Because I'm about to show you something here. It's about to be generational, but I'm also about to show you something here. Go ahead and put it in the comment section. What do you know Clint Eastwood for? And y'all see from the comments, it'll show you. Come on in here. What do y'all know Clint Eastwood for? Okay. Yes, DC is rescheduled for April. Okay, keep going. All right. Okay, what is Clint Eastwood know for? Okay. Now, if you type in Clint Eastwood, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get Western movie roles. Depending on your age, when you saw him in the movies, you're saying Dirty Harry. But if you ask people over 50 to 70, they're gonna say Westerns. You ask people 35 to 50, they're gonna say Dirty Harry. Right? Brandy says Space Cowboys. I'm not playing with Brandy today. I'm not playing with Brandy today. Majority of people are going to know him from Westerns. Okay? See, look, you making fun of him talking about the empty chair. The empty chair is supposed to be Obama. The symbolism was lost on everybody. And so, why is that important? Because the ebb and flow of his history has been tough, grumpy white dude. Tough, grumpy white dude. Tough, grumpy Western movie white dude. Boom. That's it. And he went with the flow. So now to this day, Clint Eastwood whole family eats off old Western movies for years to come. I don't know if y'all remember his name, but his name is Charles Bronson. Remember the Charles Bronson movies where the dude, like, he was half Asian, he was running around. He made you terrified of Chicago and New York and every inner city for 10 years. You're like, oh my God. He was the unregulated Dirty Harry. He was the I'm shooting every drug and thug out here I see, right? And if you type in Charles Bronson, right now on the internet, stuff is gonna pop up. Vigilante, there you go, Vigilante, right? He was the terrible Batman. But this is the funny part: Charles Bronson played in a lot of other movies. But what do you know him for? The Charles Bronson shoot 'em up movies. That's what we all know him for. Period. Point blank. Bruce Willis, God help him, he's got dementia now. Bruce Willis is known for Die Hard. Bruce Willis been in 37 terrible other movies. What do we know him for? Die Hard. That's it. Death Wish. That's right. Death Wish. They made like 7 of those movies. They kept going. They made those movies so they couldn't make them no more. Okay. And so it stemmed out of the cultural time. But I point out these actors because we all can visibly see, like, if I say Matlock, you know what I'm saying? If I say Andy Griffith, there were people in the comments that they didn't realize that was the same person. But imagine your whole life playing basically the same role, but different, right? Just advanced. And so even Columbo, you think about the Columbo movies, right? That actor played in a lot of stuff before Columbo, but that's what you know him for, right? And so when you see people be a certain way, it takes a lot to rebrand. It takes a lot to re-image up something else from that person. Oh, honey, I love some Charles Bronson. I'm like, if we had more guns, these young people would act right. You know what I mean? It just is. It's the old thought process that is still around. Like, if your grandparents would think if they got more guns, these kids would act right because you'd be firing their rumps up. Come on, listen, and we're back at it now. We're back to the Columbo, Matlock, Kojo, Beretta movie style. We're coming back to that. Why? Because the pendulum always swings left to right. So if you think about the 1980s, and I've been posting stuff on Facebook and I've been making people laugh, the wrestling era, the steroids, the big muscle men, the testosterone from the basketball players, everybody look old as hell. And the crazy part about it is we went away from that. 90s, 2000s, the kind of thinner, brawn, skinny guy was like the new action hero, right? Spider-Man, all those people. But it's going back. They just had 2 movies. The Christmas movie where the tall guy was shoot him up, right? It did amazing numbers at the box office. Where everything else is doing bad, he did amazing numbers at the box office, where he's a dad who lost his kid. He starts lifting and he shoots them all up, takes the whole gang out. It was Death Wish Part 2, 2023, right? That pendulum is swinging back now. Okay. The Andrew Tate is nothing but Andrew Dice from the 80s and 90s. No ma'am, the No Ma'am Club. That's all it is stuff, pendulum swings. Now, why am I talking about this in context? Because I really want y'all to understand what I'm trying to get you to understand tonight. Do you want to hustle and grind or ebb and flow? Right? If you look like Charles Bronson, and let's just go there. Even the black exploitation movies, if you are Pam Grier and you shooting them up as sexy Cleopatra, right? Your ebb and flow this is the character, right? This is the character that is most resonating with people, that people most like. So I'm going to ebb and flow and play this character and collect my checks. Right. And this is, I'm just going further into this. But there's this moment where our artists are like, well, I don't want to be seen like that. What was his name? Matthew McConaughey. All right. He told me he didn't want to be seen as a romantic comedy. Right. His last romantic comedy, they offered him like $20 million. Please, we'll give you $20 million. He was like, I'm tired of doing this role. Even when Matthew McConaughey does different stuff now, guess what I see him as? Romantic comedy. I don't ever see him as no detective. Even when he played in True Detective, I'm like, why is he looking like that? Right? Oh, there you go. That one I forgot about, Rocky. Right? To this day, if Sylvester Stallone would have never fought to be able to be acting in that movie. Now, today he cussing that man out because the Jewish guy who produced it still owns all the rights. Right? Still owns all the rights. It is what it is. He owns all the rights. And to this day, Sylvester Stallone is like, my daughters won't be able to eat off Rocky because y'all own all the rights. Right? Y'all own all the rights. It's terrible. Okay. And so, but that was the contract him and his Jewish lawyer came up with. That's on them. That's their fault. Everybody got to fight at the table. You got to fight for what you want at the table. Okay. Same thing. Denzel Washington rebranding as the Equalizer. So again, there is this moment where, Denzel didn't want to play thugs. He wanted to play this, or, all these different type of characters. But you have to even look at it. Robert De Niro. When I say Robert De Niro, when I say Joe Pesci, when I say, what was the other guy that died? Oh, I forgot his name. Recently died. Any of the dude, Tony Soprano, any of these people, the desire is, well, I want to show you my range. And guess what? People don't like range. They don't, right? So you have to be really committed. If you're going to say, I'm going to rebrand and look like this particular way, Ray Liotta, there you go. There you go. That's the man's name. That's the man's name. He bought Al Pacino. What do we think of now? Now, younger us, yes, think of Meet the Flockers, but everybody else in this world thinks of Italian mobsters, Italian movies, Northeastern Italian men. I was like, I want to go to New Jersey to meet all these Italians that y'all keep having. Where's all these Italians in Long Island? I just want to go see the Italians. Okay? The tracksuits and the Italians. That's what I want to see. Okay? Now, what people have to understand is you have to know, okay? Don't do her like that. Don't do her like that. She fighting for her life right now. Oprah don't play. Okay? Oprah out here wanting you to believe she an actress, and she is not. Okay, Oprah, go sit down and interview somebody. Get out of here with that. Okay. Oprah would get offended when people called her auntie, and you're like, Oprah, baby, you are 65 years old. They're being kind because they could call you grandma. So hush. Okay. And so what you have to understand, right? No, not Mammy. Not Mammy. I can't. Not the Mammy. What I want y'all to understand, why am I bringing this up? Why am I talking about this? What does this matter? I want you to understand, in order for you to slide into, let's say, Middleman to Millions, it's blue collar, it's sales. I did a great sales interview today, sales and new construction business conversation. And I'm adding the video to Middleman to Millions. I may do like a little 2 or 3 minute snippet here so y'all can see what it's about. But if you're in the Middleman to Millions course, log in tomorrow and see the interview we did with Blake Preston. Okay. And there's just stuff that, like, you have to ebb and flow in what your talent and your skill level is. I don't care what Arnold Schwarzenegger wants to do. The foreign voice and all that stuff is hilarious, right? So now he's in a show called Fubar, which is just a continuation of Arnold being a muscle man who plays a spy, which is every movie, right? And so, but he does it with a little more comedy this time, which is fine because you can poke fun at yourself. Expendables. What is Expendables? It's basically every actor from the 80s throwing them out there in these movies. If you go look up China and Japan and their movie, when they did martial artist movies, those actors over there will do like 100 movies. And they be typecast. They stay typecast. They don't get to get out of typecastness. Okay? They don't get to get out of it. All right? And so, and I want you to understand is Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, Tulsa King. I love Tulsa King. I'm like, please play more Italian gangster. Keep doing it forever. We don't, you're 75 years old. I want you to play it forever. Now, there was a great thing. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I haven't fully seen it, so I'm just quoting off a snippet. But Sylvester Stallone built this amazing big ass home in California. And y'all know it's like the mass exodus from California. But he left California because he basically said he had reached his peak of creativity. He couldn't think of new things to write, produce, create. He was frustrated, several reasons, right? I got to go watch the documentary, but I'm just giving you the snippet. And this is what I want y'all to understand. In times when you're playing these roles almost on autopilot, you're playing these Italian mobsters over and over again. You may get bored, right? You may get bored, but you have to challenge yourself to some creativity because you want to ebb and flow. When people think of hustle and grind, oh my God, the hustle culture. If you're a broke kid right now, or you're a broke adult, let's be really honest, and you're watching this video right now, there will have to be a season. It's not forever. This is what I want you to understand. It's not forever. It's just for a season. And if it's going on 10, 12 years of you having to grind, baby, we need to reevaluate what you're doing. But at the end of the day, it's a season. It's like a 2-year season, at most a 4-year season, right? The time you go to college for nursing school, the time you go to medical school, the time you go do these really life-changing things, it's a season. And so you will have to hustle and grind just a little bit. But most of you who watch this channel, you're 30 to 50. There's some younger. We've got all the different demographics. You want to ebb and flow. You want to glide to the next thing. You want to laterally move. And this is why over the years I've brought up tech, because many of you have office culture already in you, right? You've been in office for years. What's the difference? It's more pay, right? For those of you who are ready to, like, you know what, Erica, I'm ready to kind of chart my own waters, be in charge of my own stuff. That's where Middleman to Million course comes in. That's where digital real estate comes in, right? Because it can just be a plus one, right? Because what happens when it comes to Middleman to Millions, if you're starting a blue collar related job, you're really just trying to get leads in. You're really just getting leads in. You're really just getting your salespeople to make calls. You're really just getting them to do follow up. And a great point he said in the interview today was like 110-2. Okay. 100 follow ups a day, 10 people on the phone or contact a day, and 2 sales a day. And you'll never go hungry. Right. And this is an old technique. It's learned for that reason. It's learned for that reason. And so I want you to really take a moment to write out for yourself what is blocking you from ebbing and flowing. Right? When you write on a sheet of paper, what is your dream life? What's the magic number that's standing in your way? What does, $20 million Erica look like? What does $1 million Anthony look like? What does $1 million Mimi Roberts look like? What does retirement goddess look like? Right? When you start getting up in your day, you have to sit down with a piece of paper, right? Like, what does that look like? What is that invested in? Chris Tucker can't convince me of nothing but Smokey from Friday. And that's why he don't want to do them no more. That's all he could convince me of. The best movies in history ever. Best movies created. Scorsese's living off of Italian and Boston people for the rest of his life. Okay. And so what I want you to do when you write down this stuff, when you say, I'm going to be $1 million Brandy next year, I'm going to be $2 million Brandy. What does $2 million Brandy look like? What does she dress like? Where does she go? Where does she travel? What's her Italian boyfriend look like? I saw Brandy's Italian boyfriend online. She's trying to hide it. No, I'm messing. I'm just messing. She might not even like Italians. Okay. I'm just messing. But again, what does that look like? What does that smell like? What do your clothes look like? What does your life look like? And the problem is many of us, right? We're trying, look at Mobile Home Greek. Oh, come on now with the bow tie. Get it with the bow tie. What I want you to understand is a lot of times people can't see themselves in a new light because they don't want to have to hustle or grind or pivot to do something different. And I really don't want y'all to be stuck. And I want y'all to be able to see the opportunities that are going on out here and not feel like I can't be a part of that opportunity because I'm seen as that. A lot of times people are like, well, I'm an introvert, Erica. I'm an introvert. And again, I hear you. Right? But you got to be able to see it. Okay? Yes, ma'am. I had to really see myself as a tech guy. What does a tech person look like? Why do we allow people to tell us what a tech person look like? You guys ever seen the Revenge of the Nerds in the 80s and 90s in those movies? They were hilarious. John Candy. What do we know him for? Uncle Buck. Every movie was a version of Uncle Buck, basically. And the problem is that's who he really was. He really was Uncle Buck in real life. He really was drinking and smoking and eating too much. Like not trying to speak ill of the dead, but like he really was doing that. You must have just got in, Quantum. You must have just got in. Did you just get in here, Quantum? You missed the thing. It's okay. So what happens is, Quantum, what we're trying to say, yes, grinding does equal bones ground to dust. We don't want that. For a season of life, for maybe 6 months or a year, you pivoting and doing something new may cause you a little stress. But really, you want to ebb and flow. You guys ever danced? I don't know if you guys have ever danced. And again, that's sad. We in a generation of people that don't really dance. They be out here twerking or something like that. But if you ever go two-stepping, you ever go slow dancing or salsa dancing, it is life. It is a dance. It is a rhythm. It is a movement. You're swaying to the music, right? And so you have to see yourself, right? You have to see yourself as that type of person. If you can't see yourself as a dancer, you can't see yourself as a person who enjoys life, you can't enjoy life. We canceled DC for February, Corey. There is no DC. I'll update this one tomorrow. This poster will be updated by the end of the night. DC got moved to April, but we'll be in Dallas 3rd and 4th. Everybody in the private Facebook group already knows. We'll be in Las Vegas March 2nd and 3rd. We'll be in Atlanta May 4th and 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And it'll be great. Again, we have over 15,000 people on our email list. We've been emailing since November about these dates. We've had over 7,000 different independent clicks on the different links. You guys know what dates are coming. You know when I'm coming to your town. You know what the site says. You know how I know? Because the data. I don't have to guess, I can see the data. The data shows me what you've been clicking on. The data shows me how many unique impressions I've received. You dig what I'm saying? So we don't have to play this whole game like, what? What are you doing? We've already seen it. All right? Okay? One of the worst things you can say in your life is, well, why? I don't want to do that. And 9 times out of 10, when you ask them what they don't want to do is get a different job, get a different skill, try something different. They fight you tooth and nail when you ask them to try something different. So true, I could, but now I walk with a cane, so I stopped doing home health. I can do sitting as a companion, so nothing has to stop. I made adjustments. Congratulations. I'm glad you're able to keep moving. I mean, look, now you can own a facility at this rate because you know how all that stuff works. You know how it runs. You can own a facility at this place. But congratulations that you're able to keep going what you're going. Yeah, you got to ebb and flow. At some ages, it changes. You have to ebb and flow. I'm an introvert too. I really had to go through people to get me. Yeah, listen. Zig Ziglar. You get enough people what they want, you get what you want. Where's money at? On the other side of talking to people. It just is what it is. That is absolutely a life statement. Where is money at? The other side of where people is. Right? And so being able to ebb and flow in confidence and don't let self-doubt stop you from moving on to the next project is something you need. It's something you need. You have to make an adjustment and say, what are my strengths? What am I good at? What do I like to talk about? What do I want to communicate to others? 9 times out of 10, you get on phone people and they want to do something 100% opposite of themselves. You know what I mean? They're Arnold Schwarzenegger and they want to go play a ballerina. Well, I'm sorry, Arnold, that's not going to work. They're Keanu Reeves and he wants to do an emotional romantic con. No. Keanu, you shoot him up in John Wick. Your speed, you can rescue people on the bus. You are Keanu Reeves, the cop from what's that movie? When they were surfers. Oh my God, what's the movie where Keanu Reeves and they were surfers? You guys put it in the comments. That's who you are. That's your character. You're the Matrix. Your ebb and flow is being in that person. Right? That's what you are. Right? So if you're a sole proprietor, you need advice on an LLC. First thing you need to do is what state are you in? Have you booked a call with someone in your area? Have you looked online? Have you gone to a Rocket Lawyer? Right? A lot of these things can be solved by just asking for help. I wouldn't take free help at this point. I'd ask somebody for help. Just being honest. I created a 3rd YouTube channel, probably a 4th tomorrow. Shout out to you and all the things you bring for. I'm telling you, listen, it's just content. You don't know what will hit. You don't know what people will see for themselves. You don't know where you'll meet people. Every day we get hundreds of leads coming in. We don't close on all of them, but we get hundreds of leads a day. Point Break. Thank you so much. Point Break. Yes. Johnny Utah. I so bad want to name my kid Johnny Utah. I've already been vetoed by my man. He's like, no, that is ridiculous. Not happening. So that will not happen. Right? So again, it's one of those things where you really want to understand what are you seen as and how can you help others? I don't know if you guys remember this from Game of Thrones because everybody don't watch Game of Thrones. And the one of the young women tried to interrupt Olenna Tyrell. She's like, honey, hush. The adult women are speaking. And there used to be a time in life where you didn't speak when adults were speaking, right? You didn't have the wisdom or knowledge to be able to play in that role. You weren't going to be able to ebb and flow in those conversations. You just weren't, right? And so this is what I encourage of you as you come out here. If you think, and again, this is, I know people hate me talking about mindset, but it's the most, when we talk about Facebook ads, we can talk about different techniques and tactics you use. We've been talking about that for 10 years. And you know why your life hasn't changed? Because it's not about the tactics. It's the mindset. If you think this will be hard, it will be. If you think you can't get leads, you will not. If you think all these things are hard to do, they will be hard. Your girl went and created a Facebook group. It's got 45,000 people in there. What are those people? Those people are leads to whatever product or service we want to help them get. Facebook's full of Facebook groups. Y'all can make money all day and night with DMing people, right? And that's free. You can sit right on your couch and do it. You don't have to get in your car and drive nowhere. And so if you think something is hard, you think you will have to grind and hustle and hurt yourself and do all these things, then that's going to be your reality. That's going to be your reality. I mean, I remember talking to somebody and they had the easiest job in the world. They got to come inside people's houses and just plug up a box, right? The internet, the hard internet stuff had already been done. They just come to install the box. And they're like, yeah, we're going in and out of these dirty houses. And I'm like, dude, you could be on the roof. You could be on ladders. You can be in Texas 100-degree weather, but no, you're in people's AC'd houses or in the wintertime, heated houses, plugging up a box. It's all relative. It's what you think is hard. That man thinks he has the hardest job in the world, plugging up a box. I want y'all to understand that if you think life will be hard and it will be tough and things will go your way and boy, oh, it's going to be so hard every day, that's what it will be. I mean, I have two people I know. They both went in the military. They had the same MOS. You ask one guy how was his military experience, the hardest thing he ever done in his life. He was working so hard every single day. You ask the guy right to his left who had the same MOS in the same unit. He's like, man, it was a cakewalk. It was a breeze. It's all mindset and perspective. It's all mindset and perspective. When I ask you, smart money chick, what does $20 million smart money chick look like? You have to determine what that looks like. And you get to determine if it's hard to get there. Might not be hard to get there. It might not be. Right? So you have to determine, like, what does that look like? What is and again, for some of y'all, it's not money, right? Because you're going to tell me it's not money, Erica. It's not about money. Okay, well, let's do this one. What does a peaceful, happy, relaxed you look like? All right? Because everybody always says, I don't care about money, Erica. I'm on a money channel, but I don't care about money. Okay, cool. What does a fulfilled, peaceful, enjoyed you look like? What does someone who likes getting up daily, doing what they do look like? You have to figure out, like, what does that look like? Only you can write down what that looks like. All right? There you go. I thought chemistry was hard in college. Turns out I was just hard-headed. Nothing is hard. Dedicate yourself to mastering your surprise self. Listen, I was in high school, I was in all AP classes, failed calculus twice. Went to college, did calculus twice, straight A's. Now, you know, I was petty and went back and told that teacher she was a shitty teacher. But also, I should have checked myself. I just wasn't learning from her techniques. But this is before you just hop on YouTube and learn from somebody else. Okay? This is before that time. Okay? You had to Google. But again, there's these concepts you'll hear me say over the next 90 days in pre-recorded content, on the road, all that stuff about being the bank. And I don't mean these techniques you hear online and but being the bank, right? What does that look like? What does reaching out to 100 people a day look like, right? You know, what does really building a company look like, right? Because when we're in the digital real estate group and we're in the digital literacy tour, I want y'all to understand that just like, and I'll give you a comparable, in real estate, what is KB Homes doing? What is DR Horton doing? They're becoming the bank. They're having to hold the note. They're having to become micro funding companies. They're just moving paper around. It's paper notes. And in the coming economy, you're going to see a lot more people have to become the bank for themselves, for their business, for their products, for their services. right? Again, every time I come on this show and I tell you, I got it on the screen behind me, but guess what? There will be someone, even though I've been talking about it since November. Oh, I didn't know you were going on tour, Erica. What? When did you decide you're going on tour? Over 90 days ago. We've been promoting it every day ever since. But there will be somebody who will come in here brand new, and that's okay. And be like, what? When is that happening? So you have to determine, oh, Erica, I don't want to mention that I'm going on tour every day, every show I do, because that'll wear people out. No, what will wear people out is people not knowing. People saying, man, you never told me. I didn't hear. Nobody told me. I didn't know. Oh, sorry about that. Computer cutting up a little bit. But this is the thing. You have to understand, whatever you guys decide to do over the next year for your business, for your personal life, remind yourself you're going to have to tell people every day. You're selling or being sold yourself on your ideal. By you telling people your ideal, you're being sold on it. How do I know people aren't sold? You'll go in some of these Facebook groups, and again, right now, ignore me. I don't have my thumbnail picture on my thumbnail. You go in these groups and you're looking for somebody to do something in Detroit. Oh yeah, I do fences. You go over to their Facebook page, they smoking weed, they cutting up, they throwing up middle fingers, and they pay like, is this your business page? What is this? People in here talking about, I want a 100K a year job. And I go, well, where's your LinkedIn? What's LinkedIn? I ain't never heard of that. What? Today I read the most crazy thing. I put it on Facebook. It was talking about how Taylor Swift was, swag surfing, right? And the article said, what is swag surfing? And how it took over the dancing craze of the football game. And I literally had to stop. And people were commenting like, it's been 20 years that swag surfing has been out in America. And there are Americans, and I'll just say it like that, inside hand Americans who are like, what is swag surfing? That's interesting. What is that? And I want y'all to understand what, when I say we live in two Americas, I mean, most people are just oblivious of what's outside their circle. They're oblivious. Do y'all know what swag surfing is in the comments? There's 130 people here. Do anybody know what swag surfing is? Drop a 1 in the comments if you know what it is. If you're delusional at all, let me help you. But this is how I want y'all to understand that something that is so common, that is done at football games, that is done at stadium games, that is done at basketball games, that is done at college graduations, that is done a lot of places. People don't know. People are like, what is swag surfing? That's crazy. John said, what is swag surfing? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Early 2000s, somebody said nope. Okay, some of y'all don't know. That's okay. That's okay. But that's the point. It's like something that's a very common cultural, really American common at this point, because they do it on football, NFL. They've been doing it in all kind of places. People are like, what is this dance? This is crazy. And so it's just this way. You know what I'm saying? I don't even listen to that stuff and I know what it is. Do you know what I'm saying, Grace? Like, Grace is like, I don't even listen to that stuff, but I know what it is. Listen, they gonna have, if you let them say it, give them a minute. They'll be like, Taylor Swift invented it. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It came out when you were in college. Yeah. This stuff is 20 years old. Again, that's why I made the comment at the beginning of the video. I kept asking y'all, what do y'all see Clint Eastwood as? A bunch of you said Dirty Harry, but really it's Westerns. It's really what he did, like 30 or 40 movies that were Westerns. Did what, 5 Dirty Harrys? You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand, you have to realize there were people online saying they didn't realize Matlock was Andy Griffin. I know people look different when they get older, but he literally looks exactly the same to me. But this is where we get this typecasting. We just sometimes don't even see it. Listen, Life in the Ring, you don't even need TV to see swag surfing. They do it in public. They do it at graduations. They do it at football games. They do it at basketball games. Do people still do the mosh pit? Yes, they do. They still do. They still do mosh pits at some of these rock metal concerts. That's why I don't never go. I remember I went to go to Van's concert in Charlotte, and my mom was like, please, no. I seen them on TV moshing, and I just fell out laughing. I was like, Mom, they have like Paramore up there. There's nobody going to be moshing to Paramore. I will be okay. It's like I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Clint started on the TV show Raw Hide. Yeah, listen, Dolly Parton. If I say what is Dolly Parton known for, you already know what she's known for. Cut it out. You don't even need to see TV to see swag surfing. I saw Clint Eastwood last month. Yeah, the bling bling, the twerking, all this, weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? Um, that people, it's been out for 20 years. That's why, typecasting again. What's mainstream? Chicken cutlets. Did anybody watch New Giants about this sixth season? And uh, the Italians do this thing with chicken breasts or chicken cutlets. Well, they bread them in farm. So the people's moms always have chicken cutlets, right? Or they can make a chicken cutlet salads. Or they can make the parmesan, right? So the freeze. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Put in the comments if you guys can hear me. Put in the comments if you can. Can y'all hear me? Put in the comments. Hey, can you guys hear me now? Oh, okay. It's doing terrible. All right. We're gonna cut it. We're gonna cut it. Can y'all hear me now though? I don't know why it's tripping. Okay, well, I'm kind of far away from the mic, so I hate that. So we're gonna wrap it up. But I just want to tell y'all, chicken cutlets, right? It's a cultural thing. It's Italian. And so all of a sudden the dude was like, I can't wait to go home and get some chicken cutlets. And then he tells him, my mom made a bunch of chicken cutlets and we gave it to the football team. And people kept saying, what are chicken cutlets? And it was funny because it was all these Southerners saying, what are chicken cutlets? And literally, chicken cutlets are just chicken that they put in the sandwiches. That's it. Like, it's not a big deal. But people didn't know it's just like the swag surfing, right? Do I sound terrible still? It's probably bad. So listen, I'm going to get out of here because it's the microphone that's farthest away from me. It's way up here. I can't make it any better. So I'm going to wrap it up. Sorry about that. I hate that for you guys, but we should have it fixed tomorrow. But anyways, you guys, look, best thing I can tell you is, again, you have to decide and write up, do you want to ebb and flow? And what ebb and flow looks like for you. All right. Can you hear me? They're saying you can hear, but my biggest thing is I want y'all to understand, like, we put a lot of offers out on this channel. We put a lot of offers out in the community wall, but I want you to really write down what you see yourself as. How do you see yourself moving forward in 2024? Because there's going to be a lot of noise coming up. And I don't just mean my headset. I mean the noise of the election. I mean the noise of layoffs. They're going to see a lot of news about layoffs coming up, which is going to be BS, right? And you're going to see a lot of noise. And this is why I want you to understand, like, you can't let yourself be typecasted. If you have to understand how you see yourself. You almost have to do a Sylvester Stallone. And if you want to do something different, you may have to move. And so you have to be steadfast in that coming up, because this year is going to be a noisy, loud year. It's going to have a lot of distractions. It's going to have a lot of Nikki Haley moments, right? And okay, cool. So you got to understand from that point, how do I move forward? How do I see myself? How do I want to move forward? How do I want to do things? And the biggest thing I want y'all to do is you got to realize you got to learn and unlearn. It's the safest road is to learn and unlearn new things, right? And honestly, depending on what you do, is become a little monopoly where you are. Brandy's doing taxes. I want Brandy to own 10 tax businesses where she lives, right? If somebody's doing medical health care or home health care, I want them to have multiple locations they do home health care. The power in next year is, what are you deciding to ebb and flow to? You know, I had this tour I was going to originally call, not the tour I'm on now. The tour I'm on now this year is Digital Liberty, for a very particular reason. And it's because my reaction to YouTube tripping and me just hopping on over to Facebook and Instagram and rolling in another $20,000 a month for my company in my life. And so that's why I want to talk about digital liberty so bad, because I know you can stop being platform dependent, right? Stop being platform dependent. Stop letting your business only run if it runs off Facebook or YouTube, or you can't turn or reinvent yourself. That's why I called it Digital Liberty. Now, there was a tour I had in mind with certain special speakers that I didn't get to do, and it was called Alignment and Abundance. And it may get done on the back half of the year, but I doubt it. It may get done next year. Who knows? But it was one of these things where I wanted people to understand that we hear this noise, right? All this noise out here. And they maybe even become a mastermind. It depends. I have a few people that are in like higher status than me want me to come speak at their mastermind this year. So who knows? I might have to think of a way to put it out there. But you have to understand, if you are locked into your goals and your daily initiatives, and you know the numbers you need to hit, your metrics. That's why if you're in the class, definitely look at Blake's interview. It's so good because it's very simple steps that you can take every day. And you won't lose. Your pipeline of guests will be full, right? The stuff you see online, there's something going on crazy online every single day you're out here. So to say you can't find content, you can't find clients, you can't find people, it's just silly, because there's a sea of people. All right. And it may take you coming on YouTube and searching up new channels, new people, new directions, new conversations, not the same old that's comfortable, because our body desires comfortable, like homeostasis, being normal, doing the same thing every day, eating the same food, going the same driving route every day. Our body loves that. Our body, our heart, our mind loves that. Today, I walked on 20 incline on the treadmill. Hated every minute of it. But I was like, your body can't change if you don't really throw some different at it. You can't feel different if you don't try different things. You can't grow your business if you're not willing to take certain inches and measurements to ebb and flow to more money. A lot of people think it's supposed to be hustle and grind culture, and that stuff has totally played itself out. Now, let me be very clear. If you're homeless or you're down bad, you sleeping on some woman's couch, you ain't got nowhere to go. Yeah, you might need to hustle for 30 days or something like that. But also, you should still look at your life position as a moment to ebb and flow up to higher possibilities. And this is why I push this channel so hard. This is why I talk about this stuff, because a lot of times people are like, oh, Erica, you're just talking about the same stuff for year after year. And I'm like, I'm really not. Every year it's a little bit different. But the truth of it is like, if your mindset isn't ready to hear it, it doesn't matter what I say or how I say it. It's just not for you. Right? The guy that came to install stuff at the house today was just like, oh, you off work? And I'm like, I laughed and I said, sure, you can say that. And the reason is, when you start saying a little bit more, and I said a little bit more, he was just like, man, must be nice. And I started laughing because I wanted to go. That's why no one, when people say, hey, I'm looking for a mentor, I'm looking for people to talk to, I'm looking for people to grow my business with, or masterminds, they know if they start sharing how ebb and flow their life is, how smooth their business life is, how smooth their home life is, people will be so angry with them and jealous that they don't share. You know, Grant Cardone right now is in a lawsuit and he's going to win it. I already know he's going to win it. Like, they already offered a settlement 5 days in. And now Grant has gone out and kind of recruited the sea of YouTubers to kind of like, there was a sea of recruiters who first came out and said, haha, this guy called Grant a scammer, right? Well, then the tide turned today. I looked online and Grant literally went and spoke on like 100 podcasts of like the biggest names in real estate and going, hey, that guy made my employees feel bad. He made my investors feel bad. These employees, people have family members. Their family members are concerned. my lawyer said this and that. You know, he offered to settle with us 5 days in. So Grant knows he's going to win the lawsuit. Now they're going to settle, right? At some point in this lawsuit, they're going to settle. He just realized if in the first 5 days, this guy comes and offers a check for you to shut up about it, there's money there. There's money there, right? And so what's funny is you guys got to understand, Grant wasn't always this type of personality. If you actually go back and look at his old sales videos, much calmer. He looked like somebody's dad, just like on the beach talking, very calm. And he's kind of put on this more recent persona, right? And it's more of an ebb and flow of ridiculous for sure. But that's what I want you to understand. Him 10xing and putting on this face, 100x his company, under 100x his business. This is why you know him. This is why you don't like him, right? Thomas Dixon, what gets measured gets managed. If you can't tell me how many people you talk to about your business today, if you can't tell me how many phone calls you made today, if you can't tell me how many outreaches you made today, if you can't tell me you created a Facebook group and you put X amount of pre-promoted and stuff post inside, if you can't tell me how many people you reached out in a day, I don't know how you want your business to grow. I don't know how you want yourself to grow. This one guy was saying, you know, he's tired of trying to date women, and they were like, well, what's wrong? He's like, man, you got to ask him out. You got to take him out. And I was like, yeah, you have to actually like invest time. It's a process. Like anything in life you want is a process and may take 10 to 20 hours a week of your time. So you have to determine what is 10 to 20 hours a week of your time is worth it. For me this year, it's going to be more golf. It's going to be more boat time. It's going to be more fishing. It's going to be more tennis. It's going to be more hiking. It's going to be more travel. Now somebody's going to say, well, wow, I mean, don't you travel a ton this year? Yes, but last year, but this year's a slight bit different. We're going to do all that. And we're also still going to 10x in our business. How is that possible? 10x is better than 2x. There's a book, you can go grab the link. And the reason why is 2x is like, I'm just going to do more. I'm going to do more. And that's not always the thinking you want. You want to think of like, what can I do so radical that it 10x is the business? That I'm not even in the conversation. Like the staff and business runs without me being present. I can leave the country for four weeks to 6 weeks and it doesn't matter. And some of the content's pre-recorded and some of the content is just coming onto the channel, right? That's some of what you want, right? So you want to get to a place where you ebb and flow and it's in alignment with all the things you're already doing, right? How do you know that? You measure it. Thomas is very correct. You have to measure it. How do we measure it? How many people we talked to today? How many accounts did we close? How much sales did we do? All these things are measurable. If somebody's ever working for you, you can measure how much work they do for you. How many phone calls did they make? How many emails did they send out? How much posting did they do? All these things are measurable. And this is why I said a lot more companies are going to go to, they're getting rid of the term. I saw an article today. I'm going to post it. They're getting rid of chief marketing officer. That's what it is. The term chief marketing officer. They're going more to CEO or they're going to customer service success. And this is the article. You'll see a lot more on it. A lot of firms are getting rid of that term. Now, why are they getting rid of that term? One, to save money. Let's keep it buck. But two, every single person in the office is a marketing person. Every single staff member, every time somebody gets on LinkedIn, the company's going to ask you, did you share the post? Did you share the articles the company put out that week? Have you attended the free stuff, right? When these companies send these employees to the soccer game here or the basketball game here, that's all marketing, right? Because there are people, if people talk to them, they're like, hey, where's that? Who are those people? Oh, they're from this company in town. It's all marketing. They have hundreds of people marketing at any given time, but it's going to start being more measured. Through automation and through staff. So they're getting rid of the term chief marketing officer and they're getting rid of that position at a lot of companies because they're kind of delegating it all to all the staff. So I'm glad this is helpful. I'm glad it helped. I hope it's helping you grow and think differently, right? Because the law of acceptance is a real thing. If you just accept things the way they are, then, well, that's always been that way. Why does Keith Lee make so much money, right? Which again, that's a whole nother conversation, but essentially, why does Keith Lee make so much money? It's not because of social media. It's because he goes into cities and states that Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, California, New York, all these places. He goes to these places and he visits restaurants you never heard of. Why have you never heard of them? Because we as humans do the most comfortable, repeatable things possible. We're going to drive the same neighborhoods. We're going to go in the same directions. We're going to do the same stuff over and over again that we possibly can because it's comfortable. So when Keith Lee comes to your town and you've been driving right all this past 4 years, but there's a beautiful donut shop on the left that you've never seen, and he goes to it and it's got a line out the door, it's because the nature of people it almost requires an interruption. It almost requires an interruption in their pattern of living. Right? They have a thing called the Pizza Hut theory or whatever, but like police are so trained with biases, personal biases and regular, that they'll keep driving by a neighborhood and they're like, look at all the crime over there, because they're looking for crime over there. But they're driving right past this other crime in this other neighborhood and don't see it because they've already trained themselves to look for crime this way, right? They've trained themselves to look for crime. Sorry about that. Okay, chill out. Blowing my phone up. They're trained to look for crime over there. So that's what they see. That's where they're going to find crime. Right. And that's anything you want to do different this year or abnormal or abundantly, you're going to have to look at things differently. You're going to have to try to typecast yourself into that person. Arnold Schwarzenegger can do whatever he wants, but I always see him as Conan. I always see him as a spy, movie spy. I'm always going to see him that way. Jamie Lee Curtis can do 1,000 movies. Guess what I see her as? Michael Myers' sister. You know what I'm saying? Robert De Niro can play whatever he wants. Right? Whatever he wants. He's Italian to me forever. It doesn't matter. Right? So again, I want you to typecast yourself into this future person, not just where you are now, but the future person you want to be. I always saw myself riding horses, going to more galas and banquets, right? Playing tennis more, playing golf more. What's stopping me from living that life? It's up here. This is the only thing that's stopping y'all. You have to like elevate and remove yourself and put on the coat of where you're trying to go. And what happens is we surround ourselves with friends and family and situations that are comfortable because we don't want to be uncomfortable. If at all costs, we want to stay comfortable. We don't want any change. This is why I salute John coming on here. This is why I salute many of you on here who are doing different things. John is studying and educating himself. John could just chill back and enjoy his veteran years and chill and watch TV. But he's challenging himself. He's growing himself. He's throwing himself in many of these different groups and videos. It's very inspiring to see that of John. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. But this is one of those things I want you to understand. It's like you have to see yourself. You have to decide how you see yourself. Not your family, not your friends. 9 times out of 10, when you meet other people, when they get around their family and friends, they get into this mode and this identity that you're like, why are you doing that? Because they've gotten comfortable in that old identity. When you take them out of that environment, they put on a new identity. That's why I advocate for people moving. Now, I don't advocate you moving from Florida to Houston with 3 children and no money. That's not what I advocate. But I advocate you see yourself as the right way. Right? Keith Lee, he that may be his formula. I don't know. I just know that the reason it works is because he comes to your town and there could have been this amazing thing that you missed out on. And that's people's biggest fear. It's fear of missing out. It's fear of like, oh no, there was this great place. Keith Lee found it. And I live here and I didn't even know about it. Right? One of the biggest things I do is I always go look for Austin, Texas, like tourist things to do. Why? Because they have these things I've never heard of because I'm a person who lives here. And I'll be like, oh, I never heard of that place or this farm or that place. Like, and it's because they're pivoting towards tourists or families or people who are new here. Because those people are most likely to do what? Go out of the house and find something to do. People that just live in the town and they just want to go home and cook spaghetti and don't think about much. Unfortunately, restaurants are like, dang, I hate that person because I can't get their attention. 1 or 2 of the girls here in Austin, Texas, they do really great Instagram pages because they go try different restaurants. And you're like, I never heard of that place. What? That place is around the corner? And so, even now I made a list of like 30 things and places to go do in like a week or two here in Austin when it warms up, because it never stays this cold this long. So Keith Lee may have a formula for that. No, it's the guy. It's the guy, the cell phone guy. The cell phone guy is clearly drunk and slurring his words and acting a fool in the calls. And he kept doing it on multiple occasions. And like, everybody who was on Clubhouse thought Clubhouse was just, it's just a phone chat line. It's okay. Now, people were recording them Clubhouses left and right with their cell phones, their computers, their laptops, their microphones. And so if the information is recorded, it's on record, Pace Mobley did a really good interview with Grant today. I think today or yesterday. But when he was talking, I said, oh, he know he winning. He know he won. Like, he already know he's won, because within the first 5 days, the Verizon Wireless guys company said, hey, here's a settlement. Will you take this settlement? You know what I mean? Will you take this settlement? And they're like, no, we're going to go to court. Because if you go to court long enough, what does this do? This puts the newspaper and the news in the favor of Grant. This hurt me. This hurt my children. Now, the cell phone guy even called him a pedophile on one of the phone calls. And Grant was like, did you just call me a pedophile, dude? Like that's outrageous. That's beyond the pale. I'm going to sue you. And the guy mocked him and said, well, what you going to do about it? Because, of course, he thinks, nobody wants to hear this stuff be repeated again. And it's Clubhouse. Nobody could possibly be recording me. So he's gonna win, and eventually they're gonna settle, but it'll be a bigger settlement. Whatever settlement his lawyers here came to them in 5 days with, it had to be substantial. It couldn't have been like, here's 50,000, shut up about it. It had to be at least $1 million. And so if Grant said, oh no, I'm gonna keep on fighting, it had to be enough money for him to know, I'm gonna keep going to court. It's media, it's propaganda, it's promotion. It makes you, here's the thing. Grant is seen as like the big dog. And we always root for who? The underdog. Again, it's typecasting. Again, how do you ebb and flow, right? Grant, people do this. They go up, they go down, right? We hate Ty. We love Tai Lopez. We hate Tai Lopez. So then it's like all that person has to do is they know people's weakness is, I want to fight for the little guy. I want to fight for the little guy. So Grant keeps talking about himself and like, I'm just some guy out here working hard for my company, my business, my employees. And here's this guy who's a billionaire almost, trashing my name repeatedly, calling me all these foul things. And what really locked the guy in is he said, by the end of the year, Grant's going to be arrested for fraud or something to that extent. And that's what's going to put the nail in the coffin. You know what I mean? So we'll see it. The must be nice is, it's just like a mirror effect. When you tell somebody really good news and their attitude is must be nice, or I could never, or that's crazy, right? What they're telling you is, I don't view myself that high, or I don't think I can get where you're trying to go. So it must be crazy. Right? Or you tell them a really big ideal and they're like, oh, that's wow. Again, that shows you which way to ebb and flow. If you tell somebody your ideal and they acting kind of weird, ebb and flow away from their ass. That's the first thing I'm gonna tell you. Get away from them, because that's basically what they're telling you, is that's how they see you. They don't understand why you have the view of yourself that you do. That's what they're saying. All right. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Middle Meta Millions, grab it there. You'll have the Blake Preston interview, should be in there tomorrow morning or later tonight. I'll probably do like a 5-minute snippet here on YouTube so you guys can see a little bit snippet of it. But he did a really great job, and it really breaks down how to get leads, how to get sales, how to start companies from scratch. And a lot of times people, oh, Erica, where are you finding all these people? I'm like, just connections, conferences, interactions. You should be able to, at any moment in time on your phone, have a Rolodex of people you roll out and speak to. I think on New Year's Eve, I think I text over 150 people, like Happy New Year's, and like the comments and concerns and the connections afterward were amazing. So, because the next day everybody had, oh, hey, blah, 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 let me tell you about the new thing going on, or what I'm working on, or blah, blah, blah. Like, one dude sent me a deal and I'm like, dude, I don't want that deal. It's to be something different, right? So again, it's just following up with people. It's just life. Following up with people. So anyway, this is your girl Erica, Classy Climb Blog. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Thank you for being patient through the audio noises.
And I will see you guys probably tomorrow.